They say that your brain starts dying at 40. They say you can't teach a dog new tricks. Well, I'm here to tell you that's a bunch of garbage. Picture up. Thanks for joining me on this windy day. It is a beautiful day in sunny Florida. The wind is blowing and it's gonna show up on this vlog. Outside of that, everything is Jim dandy. But listen, on my walk, I was thinking big time this morning about what I was going to talk about. And I just meditated on it. I did some laundry today. About to go out on a quick trip on the road. But what I'm going to drop today is it's for somebody. And you might see this at some point down the line. But this comes from experience. And I was really meditating on this before I did this vlog. And a lot of thoughts in my head. You know, when I turned 50, maybe a little bit before 50 years old, I thought my best creative years were behind me. And then I just kind of fell into a pattern of going to work for somebody or go work for people that had creative missions and visions. And they were actively doing it on a high end level. But in my journey, I had a lot of wins and losses. And I had things that I grew from ground zero and I lost them. And when you lose something like that from a creative standpoint, from whatever you build, and it feels like a death. It feels like you lose a piece of yourself. I didn't hit my creative stride until I turned 50. And that was literally 3 years ago when I got back to Florida. My life hit ground zero. I had to hit the restart button. I was running around for years, just kind of lost. And a lot of it was through a bad divorce and losing a dream. And quite frankly, a lot of it was I built something. There were several things I built and I lost them. And I tried to recover, but I never got my rhythm back with it. So I just decided to let me just go work for other people and just put my dreams on the back burner. Well, sometimes you got to do that. But I didn't really hit my creative stride until I was 50 years old. A lot of people say, well, that's insane. And I see these younger generation and I love it. The zeal, the passion, the fire, that they're going to change the world with their idea, their business idea, or their script, or their music project, or whatever they set out to do, a small business in a local area. We're going to franchise it out. We're going to take over the world. The reality of that is I see it. And I'm not one of those guys that ever come in like, that ain't going to happen. Because Lord knows we all have people like that in our lives, or had people like that in our lives. When you get older, you get wiser and you kind of weed out the people that are not really for you. They're actually against you. People in your camp. But I see this younger generation, they're so excited. They have so much zeal, but they lack something that's crucial, and that's wisdom. And wisdom doesn't come over and it just doesn't appear overnight on this book that you can read. Yeah, you can study, approve, but the best experience that you can possibly have is just that experience. You have wins, you have losses, and if you really look up a really high definition of what I'm talking about, these young entrepreneurs, especially in the tech industry. It's rare. I mean, there's a rare percentage that some people make it out on top. You think like someone like Zuckerberg. But most of these guys, you don't hear the stories about all these other guys that crash and burn because of their age. And the investment they lost. You don't hear those stories. Everybody sees the successful stories, but I'm telling you, there's more burnout stories and crash and burn stories than there are success stories in this thing. And this is with everything. This has nothing to do with entertainment, just across the board with business, entrepreneurship. It's just part of it. I've lost a lot over the years. And when you lose something, it feels like a death, and you put up a wall like, I'm never going to go there again. And yeah, I thrived on creativity. I thrived on projects, and I just would dive into them on a personal level. Even when I was like, I felt like I had to protect myself. I didn't want to go there again, on the creative side and go, man, I'm going to be let down again. So what I'm trying to get at today is this: you're never too old or too young to start over. And most people in midlife, they were sold this dream of the 9 to 5, and you got to do this to get this, to get married, you got to have this. And it's called responsibility. And there is nothing wrong with that. But most people just get sucked into that world. And most men and women, they become unfulfilled because they had this thing inside them that died with building the dream. And a lot of that comes down to, divorce. It's really high in this country. And a lot of that comes down to that. People being unhappy. They don't know who they are anymore. They got lost in a shuffle, or they just matched up with somebody, and people change. They don't have the same mission anymore. And it's sad. God knows I've experienced that. But it is what it is at the end of the day. You can't make excuses. But it's just never too late to start over. It's just not. And as I'm walking and talking today, there's so much to it. Everybody has this creative idea. Everybody comes like, this is going to change the world. And granted, I'm not disrespecting creativity, because God knows, I operate in that. That's one of the high gifts I have. But I also know from experience and from past failures, a creative idea is just not going to take you over the top. When you're building something, you have to look at it from every angle. And it's the things that you necessarily don't want to look at. The financials, building something. Hey, let's get this building and we'll do this. We'll make this podcast studio or whatever. We'll just build it. And the philosophy people say, hey, build it and they will come, to a certain degree. But if you're going to move and maneuver and build something, you have to have a lot of engines moving and shaking, especially from a financial backer standpoint. I learned a lot when I went in business with a billionaire years ago, when I signed over my management company so we could start a record label with Universal. And granted, my management company was successful. I was winning music awards with the artists. And granted, hindsight looking back, I should have never been so anxious to jump what I was building based on a temporary need of financials. The guy was very generous. And looking back, I probably wouldn't trade the experience because I learned so much. I put things at personal level in jeopardy. I put my family in jeopardy. I had to sign personal guarantees. It's crazy what we do when we're so, but we really don't think it through. We have this idea, and most people say, oh, that'll work out to a degree. But if you don't have a solid concrete plan with financials and doing the things that are not sexy to do, because everybody, with creative stuff, everybody wants to be that guy. Well, I'm the creative. Or I'm the creative on the mend. And that's the whole base of this channel, because I was a creative guy. And I realized through that how I sustained all of my life, the good, the bad, the ugly. I saw something. I was like, okay, that person wants to be the guy that's creative, but he needs infrastructure. He needs guidance. He needs someone to push him. He needs a right arm. He needs a left arm. And I'd always come into those roles where I would get a paycheck. And it was beautiful. And I was like, man, I found my niche. What I'm supposed to be doing. Then, and when I got back here, I really felt that I was supposed to start building all these things. And a lot of doors started opening. But granted, a lot of this stuff wasn't happening because there's no finances involved. There was no money. He's broke. I lost all my money. Broke as a joke. But these relationships started circulating, and some good. Started on a film that was financed, a documentary that fell through. Then it came back. The same scenario, but I was wise this time. I had something with me. I had something that was practical that most people don't want to understand when it comes to being a creative or starting a small business. You just can't jump into a situation because you have an idea. And if you don't have the proper team, because here's the thing about a team. You go, my team. You know how many times I've heard that? And ideally, you don't even know what a team is because it's all about you. It's all about you. It's all about you. And I say that because I was one of those guys. So when I see people do that, they go, my team, and it's all about them. I said, man, they're going to have a life of a lot of heartache. Can that situation change? Yes, if you're humble and you want to listen, you want to surround yourself with wise people. The best thing a young entrepreneur can do right now is surround themselves with older guys. Maybe put them in as a vice president or a president or a consultant to what you're doing. And they're going to tell you probably things you don't want to hear and push your buttons and say, hey, bro, you might want to think that through. Well, what do you mean? The best thing you could possibly do is listen to wisdom as a creative. You just can't go full throttle. You just can't. You can, and most people do. Let me retract that statement. Like you said, you can't, because people can and they do go. But then they find themselves in a really, really awful situation that they never, ever, they go, how did I get here? And then your dream, this thing, this identity, this thing that was birthed inside you, it's not working. And you linked yourself up with other partners, things that are in paper now that you're responsible for. The investor's saying, where's my money? Where's my money? And all you had is like, I'm going. We're building. You built this infrastructure. Then you realize you didn't really think it through. It's tough. And it's just not like that in the creative world. It's like that in everything you do in business. You have to think it through. You have to sustain. Everybody wants to be the CEO, but no one knows when you don't have any freaking money in the bank account, you don't have any more capital to pull from, and you have 20-something employees that you have to pay every freaking week, and you're short cash. Guess who takes a pay cut? Guess who doesn't get paid? The CEO, the person that owns the company. And I see some of these guys that are building these companies now, they're making it about themselves. But if you want to build a team, you take care of your team. Always. Yeah, I get passionate. I get really passionate about this because I see it. It's an epidemic. Well, it's my company. I deserve to get paid. Well, maybe you should have thought that through before you hired 4 or 5 different people that you couldn't afford in the first place. You promised them a paycheck. You better deliver that paycheck. I get so worked up about stuff like this. And then if you're on the other end, you're the CEO, the owner of the company, whatever, you're scrambling. People are not paying bills. You're stressing out. And you go back to the thing like, why did I do this again? That's a wake-up call. No one ever tells you those stories. Nobody ever tells you that when you have a dream. They say, bro, it's a great idea, but have you thought this through financially? And yes, you need to do things to establish business. Sometimes you need the building. Got to do a lease. You got to buy the equipment. Yes, that's not ever going away. But you get a bank loan, which I highly don't do it. And don't get a financial backer either. Well, people say, how do you sustain and how do you do your dreams? You know how you do it? You wait patiently. They go, well, Jeff, you're just contradicting yourself. Or what you're saying. If you have an idea, you got to do something with it. You wait. You create a stride. You do things. You do things at your own pace. And it's not always pretty, but immediately I look at things immediately and I shut the door on them. I had a lot of great opportunity last year, but I shut the door. I said, the long-term play, is this right for me, or is this just a temporary financial means to sustain me, where it's going to cause me to be miserable and keep me off the track of where I should be? And I say that from films, especially this documentary, again, at birth, and got a letter of intent from somebody, getting a team together. And I got cold feet. I was just like, no, I know what it takes to do this, and we don't have it. We can put heart and soul into this thing, but to really take this thing over the top, we're going to need money. And how do we get it? Because it's going to have to come from a studio that believes in the project, which I'm totally down to do. But that studio knows how to manage money, because that's what they do. They're in TV and film. So when I say all that is, when you're doing something, you want to partner up with the right people. Granted, you have people that you grow up with. There's some beautiful stories of people that just were building things together, and things turned out great. They maneuvered, they shifted when things got tough, and they came out okay. But then you have these individuals, people that want to be a CEO or owner of a company just to say they could do that. It's funny, I won't mention names, and hopefully he doesn't see this because he'll get mad at me. But I'm not going to mention his name, but I manage a very, very popular group that was in the Christian space. And if you know me, then you know who I'm talking about. He would always go, I'm the CEO. And I'd always go, CEO of what? What are you the CEO of? You have nothing. You got a contract with a record label, and you have a manager running your day-to-day. So what are you the CEO of? People are obsessed with that title. I was obsessed with that title. And in hindsight, I don't like to lead. I've been there. I don't like doing it. I'd rather be a right arm, left arm any day, because I know what it takes to uplift somebody. I know how to encourage somebody. Because when you're in that seat, it's a whole different ballgame. It's stress. It's just things like, man, how did I get here? And so I'm an encourager. If I'm in a situation as a right, left arm in a situation, that's where I thrive. Because I do what I do. And I'm one of those guys that take my finger when there's a leak, and I start putting my finger in it. I go, hey, man, don't stress out about this. We'll stay in the course, but you got a heavy leak over here. We got to fix this. I'm going to go work on it over here, okay? That's what I do. That's what I do best. But the encouragement, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer to take your creative ideas, flush them down. That's not what today is about. Today is about, if you lost everything, you spent all this time of frustration of like, man, I lost so much. I don't know if I have it in me anymore. And there's some things that I'm going to tell you real quick, because I've went on a tangent today. My God. There's some things that I want to tell you. As a creative, I now know that there are things that I'm never, ever going to put in a pot. And what I mean by that is like this. This is something I love to do. Will it ever bring financial means? Maybe. But it's something I like to do. I like to vlog. I like YouTube. It's a hobby right now. It's a hobby. Granted, I do get paid for other things on YouTube, working with other people's channels. But this is a hobby. It's something I like to do. Music, which was never that for me, is now, well, my personal stuff. I went back in the studio. I just started writing music. It's a hobby. I love doing it. But I'm never going to put that in a pot where someone goes, hey, man, let's take this and let's do business. Because if I lose that, I'm not going to have anything. It's going to feel like a death. I have to have my creative outlets where no one is necessarily involved. Or I have people involved that have the same vision and we're doing the same thing. That works. That works. And everybody kind of knows their place. But like things like this, I would never, ever put in a big pot. Now there's other things like films. Yeah. Granted, we're working on a project. I can direct. can produce, and I can do a lot of things. So when it comes to projects, I just don't get in the way now of people that are just so driven with the creative ideas. I said, all right, cool. I'll be a producer. I'll do what I need to do to get this job done. I don't fight for creative control anymore. It's just not worth it. And that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, you don't always have to be the guy. You don't always have to be the woman. You know, teams that are run well and everybody knows their place. It's a beautiful thing. And you don't really see that much anymore. That's why you see turnover of people just being so unhappy with their careers. You know, especially on YouTube, I see that a lot. Maybe it's the title of my channel, where I'm at in life, what I get fed in an algorithm. I see it. I'm like, dang, there's a lot of unhappy people in this world that are just going through the motions. They're not happy with where they're at the company. And that's just it. That's how you lose people, because you don't put them in positions that they should be. And if you're a true leader, you'll know when it's time to step down or hand over the reins to somebody else. Say, look, this guy's got it, you know? This guy is totally capable to do this position. Fun story of today, and this might have to come back. I might have to retouch this like once a month that I'm going to, handle, because it's a lot to unpack just in, a 25-minute cycle here. But there was a guy that we all know. You might have had his chicken. You might have tasted it. I'm not a fan, truthfully, of his chicken, but I had it when I was a kid. I'm not much of a chicken on the bone kind of guy, if you know what I mean. I know that sounds weird, but I have my reasons. Same reasons why I don't go to KFC anymore. They had only these like boneless chicken bowls back in the day. And I bit it and there's a big old bone, like a wing of a chicken. And I was like, ugh, like the skeleton part. It was weird. I realized I don't even want to describe it, because you're probably going, dude, we eat? What are you talking about? There's a guy, he was in his 60s. He was a lawyer. He worked in all these miscellaneous jobs. A lawyer that used to get in fist fights all through life. But he had this idea. He was like 61 or 63 years old. He started KFC in their 60s. It's incredible. KFC, finger licking good. Look, and I bring all that up because that story is, you might have had dreams that got crushed, or things that you love to do that got crushed. And the reality is, everybody waits for that payday. They don't do things because they wait for a check. They said, well, I used to do that, but I don't get paid to do it anymore. You know how many times I said that? But now I'm just doing stuff. I'm literally taking things that I used to do daily to get paid for, and I'm doing them. Why? Because I always loved to do them. You're never too old to start over. You're never too young to have a dream. I know I was hard. I was very passionate. But there's reasons, because I think in this space that's still dealing with creatives, I'm going up to Nashville for a quick trip with an artist that I'm working with. He has passion. He knows where he wants to go. But at the same time, which I've talked to him about that before, it's about getting the team aligned and having vision and know where you want to go. If you don't have the vision, you're not going to obtain much ground. You're going to flounder back and forth, even though you're extremely talented in what you do. So have vision. It's okay. It's okay to dream. But really think it through. And especially if you're inviting people to the party, like, hey, man, you want people to be sold on this vision? And like, dude, I was thinking, man, I was going to be this. And, you got great leadership skills. Did you ever think about being the CEO? And you go, why? Well, why would I let him be the CEO? This is my company. This is my dream. No, you realize that other people have the same dream that you have? And it's aligning the right people up with the mission. You can be a founder. For me now, I don't think I would want to do a CEO role ever again. I mean, granted, if a great opportunity came along, I'd have to go, huh? And I've had some leadership roles come. But I've looked at what I do well. I'm a chief creative architect. That's what I do. I can manage teams. I can take projects and put them in motion. I can run multiple projects at the same time. multiple things. People say, how do you do all these things? Because I have a gift to do it. I've been graced to do it. And some people can't. But what I do brings value to somebody else. So when I have someone that wants to be a CEO in the project or whatever, they can bring me on. I can assist them and say, hey, whatever you need, this is where we're going. Cool. Well, let's do this, this, and this. So let's make sure we don't do this and pull this over here. You see what I'm saying? It's not rocket science. Find that idea that you have. And you may not take it to the finish line, but this is the whole point of me doing this channel is, again, I say it every day. The whole point of this channel is to find like-minded individuals that have a passion for this stuff. And it might be just hobbies for us. Some might be making money, but I want to connect with them. I want to find a team of people that want to create this ecosystem here in Florida of YouTubers getting together and sharing ideas, sharing what's working on YouTube for them, what's not working for them, and build friendships. That's my whole goal with this thing. So I hope you got something out of this today. I know I got all passionate about it. I get worked up on this stuff. I ain't gonna lie. But I'm gonna have to come back to this stuff. But experience, man, I have a lot of it. I don't say that to put a feather in my cap, because I'm 53 years old and I'm starting over right now. And it better be finger looking good, if you know what I'm saying. But no, even if it's not, even if I can help people not to make the same mistakes I made and watch them sail. I've done that so much in my career where I don't get a lot of glory. I don't get a paycheck. I was a stepping stone of especially in the music industry, of introducing an artist to a label when I was not even their manager, and they took off and won Grammys. Producers, same thing. And it's not about that. It's about your gift. Because at night, you can say, oh, my bank account's low. What about me? But the biggest fulfillment I've ever had, and this is true talk, I think about it and go, how friggin' cool was that? That guy I found in a teeny little studio somewhere is winning. He won 2 Grammys. It's crazy. His first year in the industry. It's mind-blowing to me. But that's fulfillment for me. I go, man, I was a stepping stone. And people laugh because I make jokes about it. I go, hey, man, it's a stepping stone. They go, what's that supposed to mean? I go, it's true. I go, hey, I might just be, with the relationship I have, I might be that guy just to connect you guys, and you guys go off to the races. So be open to that. It's not always about the money. It's about how you're designed as a creative. And if you fit into that thing, and it's okay. I've had people say, hey, if you hook me up with this, they know their intention's right. Like, hey, I need you for this. I'll pay you X amount of dollars if you go do this for me. I'm like, done. I can go do that. Not a problem. There's that transaction. But there's a special relationships that comes with building a team. And when you find those right people, that's when the beauty, and I don't want to say magic because I don't believe in magic, but you know what I'm saying. That's when the magic happens. That's when something special happens and you see things, you take ground. But the moment it comes about you and selfish ambition is the moment it dies. Hey, you might have watched this video and you're really contemplating this guy was really hard on me. That wasn't my intent. Don't be so hard on yourself. Just readjust. I'm doing these videos because I hope it helps somebody, because I'm no one special. When I say this, dude, I'm no one special. I lost it all. So don't do what I did. Listen to wisdom and advice. I still do that. I listen to anybody. Anybody does anything now, I listen. I go, hey man, tell me something, blah, 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 blah. And they go, blah, blah, blah. I'm just fascinated by that. I'm always learning. You're never too old. I don't know everything. And see, that's the mentality. That's how you become hard on yourself, because it's okay to say, I don't know. So don't be so hard on yourself. Hey, when you have this creative idea, why don't you document the journey? Get out, talk it through. Even if you don't release it out into the YouTube algorithm or the interwebs, whatever you do with it, it's just good to flush out ideas out. I encourage you to do that. It's a lot cheaper than going to a psychologist. The medication's unbelievable. Plus, you don't want to be on medications. We'll catch you on the next one. Lord willing. And listen, I really, truly believe this. If you're watching this, I want you to win. I really, really do. And I'm believing in you. Catch you on the next one on Creative on the Mend. See you real soon.